Hey gang, it's your buddy Platt back with another episode of Value Spirits. The particular spirit we have today is very Old Barton. I purchased this bottle for $9.99, $10. Again, these days anything $10 range, you know, that's 80 proof in a bottle, we're already looking at pretty good value. Just real quick glance of the bottle tells us it is crafted very Old Barton, 80 proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. The neck label tells us aged at least 36 months. That means it's at least 3 years old. It being a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, we know that it's 2 years old there, but on the label it tells us 3 years old, so we're dealing with at least a 3-year-old bourbon. This particular bottle is the 80 proof. They do an 86, a 90, and a 100 proof very Old Bartons. The 100 proof at one time was 6-year-old whiskey, and it was a bottle and bond product. For those of you that might not be familiar with bottle and bond, the Bottle and Bond Act was probably the first any kind of food and beverage labeling act here in the United States in the late 1800s. There was just a lot of adulterated whiskey out there, especially bourbon. It had tobacco juice, wine, you know, other things blended into it. So they created the Bottle and Bond Act, which had kind of a special stamp, and the government would inspect the warehouses and everything and kind of certify what was in the bottle. And a bottle and bond has to be at least 4 years old and has to be at least 100 proof. Apparently Barton started blending in younger whiskeys into the 100 proof, so it's no longer a bottle and bond product. Very Old Barton is produced in Bardstown, Kentucky. The parent company of this is Sazerac, the giant spirits conglomerate. Sazerac produces such, you know, some of the bigger names in bourbon: Buffalo Trace, George T. Stagg, Pappy Van Winkle, Blanton's, Willer's, just to name a few. So obviously the parent company knows what they're doing when it comes to bourbons. Now this particular spirit and those others are produced at the Barton 1792 distillery. It's labeled Barton 1792 distillery, but it was actually built in 1879. The 1792 comes from the fact that Kentucky became a state in 1792. That right now is the oldest distillery in Bardstown. Bardstown is one of the kind of hubs of activity in Kentucky bourbon, so having the oldest distillery is a nice little feather in your hat. Now, the product is produced at that distillery. However, it is aged and bottled at the Barton Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. Difference between the Barton Distillery and the Barton 1792 Distillery. The brand Barton was purchased by Sazerac back in 2009. Now, Barton's is known for their line of well and budget spirits, vodkas, gin, rums, bourbon, obviously. They also produce the Mr. Boston line of well spirits, Fleischmann's vodka. I know for a long time Fleischmann's is probably the cheapest vodka you can find out there. They also produce the line of 99 different flavored schnapps, your 99 bananas, 99 peach, what have you. And Barton's is the folks that give us Fireball. That's right, they are the ones to blame. Barton's also does produce other branded whiskeys. The 1792 bourbon's actually a really nice little bourbon. The Kentucky Gentleman, that was, when I first started bartending, that was a huge line of well bourbon. And 10 High, the American whiskey. One of the things we talk about in Value Spirits is, again, just finding something good for your dollar. That's all we're really looking for, is just, you know, value for the dollar. And back in 2011, the 100 proof very Old Barton tied with Evan Williams for Whiskey Advocate's Best Buying Whiskey. Now, if you watch his channel any, you know that I think Evan Williams for the dollar is one of the best buys in bourbon. So if this very Old Barton's anywhere near that, then we definitely got something good for our dollar. So that being said, let's give very Old Barton a try. All right, nose has a little heat to it for 80. I do get A little vanilla, a little caramel, some of the wood notes. They're definitely in there. Nice, but simpler nose. Let's go ahead and go in for a taste. It's nice. That is real nice. I got the sweet. I got the caramel up front. There is some length to the finish. There is a little bite to it. Not much. It's not aggressive, but it does let you know it's there. You get a little more of the wood further back. It's simple, but it's well executed. There's no real big glaring weakness in it. Great thing about this at $10 a bottle, you want to mix it or whatever. I don't know if this is something I would continuously drink neat or on the rocks, but as far as mixing this with, you know, any kind of mixer or even in a cocktail, I have no problem with that. And to be honest, this would be a really good spirit. I'm not going to put this up with Evan Williams. Maybe if I had the 100 proof, you know, this is, you know, the difference really is it's being cut more with water, so some of these flavors are tamped down at the 80 proof compared to the 100. Maybe that 100 proof is closer, but for $10 a bottle, this is nice. It like I said, you have no problems, you know, using it with a mixer. But this is something I could drink, you know, neat too. This would probably be a nice little shooter, actually. At 80 proof, it's not going to kick too hard. I'm not getting just a faint hint of rye spice, but not enough there. But just it's got a little bit of that corn sweetness, a little bit of the caramel, a little bit of the vanilla, a little bit of the wood. It just gives you a little bit of those classic kind of bourbon profiles. None of them it does excellently or over the top. Just gives you a little bit of that, and again for $10, that's all I can really ask for. This is a good value. I still would say Evan Williams I would prefer for the dollar, but this is not. This did not get left in the dark by Evan Williams, so, and this is again a pretty good buy at that price. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or spirits you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.